My name is Joseph Okoye. I'm a pharmacist with over 20 years of practical experience in the United Kingdom. I'm so excited to launch this platform, this channel, where I'll be dealing with all sorts of over-the-counter issues. There's quite a lot of minor ailments. I can say that 40% of minor ailments and conditions can be treated at home. In other words, you can visit your pharmacist and your pharmacist can help. And so this channel, like I call it, deals with self-management of illnesses at home. I call the channel self-management of illnesses and their conditions. The truth is that 40% of illnesses, you don't really need a doctor. You don't need a GP. You can manage them at home. And from my experience, these are things people don't know. They take it for granted. I know in this day of social media, this day of online platforms, and this day of Dr. Google, people go on Google to search for all sorts of ailments and conditions, which is useful at some point. But the truth is that sometimes, inadvertently, people raise fear and take things out of context and just wind themselves up unnecessarily. And so this platform is for me to deal with all common illnesses and their treatment, how to manage them, what to do. I want to use this opportunity to say that my advice doesn't mean that you shouldn't visit your pharmacist or your GP or your doctor or your specialist for face-to-face encounter or consultations. You still need those. But I know that from my experience and from my knowledge and my expertise, a lot of information I'll be dealing with here is something that will benefit and help you. And so I'll kick this off today by talking about hay fever. What do you know about hay fever? What is the difference between hay fever and perennial rhinitis? Hay fever is more like something you get during summertime. That is why we call it seasonal rhinitis. And what are the symptoms of hay fever? Things like runny nose, sneezing, cough, even breathlessness. Those are symptoms of hay fever. And so the question is, what is the difference between perennial rhinitis and seasonal rhinitis? Seasonal rhinitis is what we call hay fever. It's things that come up when pollen counts are high or when tree pollens are high. It's something that comes up mainly during the summertime. People are sneezing or coughing or developing runny nose. Whereas perennial rhinitis is something that happens all year round. Whether be it winter or summer, people are constantly sneezing. Sometimes it's caused by dust mites or pets or even things that are allergens at home. Things like some cushions or even at offices or dust. These can cause rhinitis. Those runny nose and watery eyes, these are the things that can also cause them. And so the key is knowing the trigger. The key is knowing what is causing it and knowing how to deal with them. And so, like I said, the question you have to ask yourself is, what are you dealing with? Are you dealing with seasonal rhinitis or are you dealing with perennial rhinitis? That determines how you're going to deal with it. And so the symptoms are quite similar. The difference is that the one you suffer all year round, where the other one is only seasonal. And so I hope now you understand the difference. The next thing I'm going to deal quickly with is how to manage it. You see, there's various over-the-counter medication to manage the runny nose or the sneezing. The one that comes to mind is what we call antihistamines, like chlorpheniramine, or we all know it as Piriton, or cetirizine or loratadine. These are oral tablets that you can take. Now, the truth is that if you're the one that are always on the road driving, then you will not want to take Piriton or chlorpheniramine. Rather, you want to take loratadine or cetirizine, one a day. Those are non-drowsy. So if you're a student at school preparing for your exam, or you're on a long journey driving, you won't want to take Piriton. So ideally, Piriton is drowsy and you don't want to take it if you're driving or you're on the road. whereas cetirizine or loratadine are non-drowsy. Those tablets you can take. Those are the ones you can take, whether it be seasonal or perennial rhinitis. These tablets can help. I also want this opportunity to tell those, if you have a young baby who is under 1 year of old, please do not give them Piriton or chlorpheniramine. I mean, the doctor can prescribe it, but really over the counter, it is not recommended to buy it to give to a baby who is not yet 1 year of age. Those are the tablets that can take. Also, another thing that is common is watery eyes. There are eye drops, something we call sodium chromoglycate. Some of you will know it as Optichrome eye drops. Those can help with the symptoms. Those can be bought. I would say that for pregnant women, I wouldn't really recommend tablet because you just don't know how the mother will react, because pregnancy is something also that can trigger hay fever. So I will recommend something very local like eye drops. Yeah, so that's something to manage hay fever. The other thing that you can also use to manage hay fever is steroid inhalers, fluticasone or beclomethasone. Those are nasal sprays which are very good with hay fever. They work a magic, but the truth is that, again, there's an age barrier or age gap in terms of who can use steroid in nasal sprays. So in any case, if you're not yet 18 years of age, no pharmacist will want to sell you steroid nasal spray because it's not recommended for those under 18 years of age. But if you're over 18, steroid inhaler sprays, nasal sprays can be so useful. So if you're the type that suffer badly with hay fever, my advice is to start early. Start weeks before the hay fever season to take your steroid nasal spray and carry on throughout the hay fever season. That way you're preventing the hay fever giving you and affecting your quality of life and giving you such a stress and such an unusual reaction, disrupting your quality of life. So steroid nasal spray is also very good. The other thing I want to mention as far as treatment is concerned is what we call nasal decongestants, because you've got to bear in mind things like blocked nose is another symptom of hay fever. So if you're getting blocked nose, consider using what we call pseudoephedrine. Most of you will know it as Sudafed. Those are very used to ease off airways and allow free flow of air. But again, you've got to bear in mind that pseudoephedrine is something that we control how much we give out. In other words, we don't want to sell it nilly-willy or dispense it nilly-willy. You have to be able to show that you need it. And we want to control. The regulation says that we cannot sell or dispense so many to people. So the question is, when you go to the pharmacy, you have to make sure you need it. We won't want to be selling it to you as much as you want, because cases have shown that people buy it and use it wrongly, either to extract the active ingredient and use it to make all kinds of drugs like crystal meth. So you can understand why it is well controlled. So pseudoephedrine is a powerful decongestant which can also help with hay fever. And so I hope today you've sort of gathered some information about useful medications that you can use to treat whether it be perennial rhinitis or seasonal rhinitis. These are very useful. Also, prevention is important. So if you know that the hay fever count is very high, it will be a good idea to close your windows and keep your windows closed when there's high pollen count. That way, your hay fever can be well controlled. Thank you for joining me again today, and I'm excited about all the ailments I'm going to be dealing on this channel. If you have a comment or if you have something that you feel I should deal with, please drop me a message, like and comment, and watch out for other common ailments I'm going to be dealing on this platform. Thank you once again for joining me, and goodbye for now.